The root sources of modern languages are often difficult to determine because of a lack of written records. Only by comparing different languages can scholars understand their relationships with one another. This is particularly true of the Indo-European language group. Containing more than 400 sublanguages spoken by approximately 50% of the world's people, this group consists of several major modern languages, including German, English, Russian, Italian, French, Spanish, and Greek. For a long time, those interested in linguistics noted how some words in different languages were similar. One such example is the words for various numbers in Latin and Greek. And this led people to conclude that Latin must be a daughter language of Greek, since Greek civilization was highly influential on the Latin-speaking Roman civilization that later developed in Italy. Then, in the 18th century, English scholar William Jones traveled to India and began studying the Sanskrit language. Already an expert in Latin and Greek, Jones noted some similarities between both languages and Sanskrit. In a lecture given in 1786, Jones proposed the groundbreaking idea that all three languages had a common root source. Instead of being a daughter language of Greek, Latin was perhaps a sister language. The subsequent search for the root language of Greek resulted in scholars eventually concluding that a group of people living in Eastern Europe in the land occupied by modern-day Ukraine may be the source of many modern languages. They called this source language Proto-Indo-European. Starting around 3500 BC, these people began to migrate and intermingled with other groups. Over the next 3,000 years, various languages were born through this process. As this occurred, numerous language branches that have some similarities but also many differences arose. Modern scholars categorize these languages into 10 major branches: Anatolian, Indo-Iranian, Greek, Italic, Celtic, Germanic, Balto-Slavic, Armenian, Albanian, and Tocharian. The Anatolian branch was spoken in parts of Turkey and Syria. In ancient times, the most significant of the languages in it was Hittite. All of the languages in the Anatolian branch are dead languages today. The evidence for them existing rests on some archaeological finds with writing on stone in cuneiform. The same cannot be said for the Indo-Iranian language branch, whose many sublanguages are spoken throughout parts of Iran, Pakistan, and India. They include Farsi, Pashto, Kurdish, Hindu-Urdu, Punjabi, and Bengali. Of the ancient languages in this branch, the most noteworthy is Sanskrit. Linguistic scholars consider ancient Greek a group of dialects rather than separate sub-branches. The emergence of Athens as the predominant Greek city-state in the 5th century BC led to its form of Greek, called Attic, to become widely used for both writing and speaking. Even before this time, the Italic language branch was transported to the Italian peninsula by migrating tribes from Central Europe. By 600 BC, that group's main language, called Latin today, had spread across the peninsula. While Latin is still studied and spoken by individuals in academic and religious circles, it is no longer considered a living language. However, from Latin evolved the widely used subset of Romance languages that includes French, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. The Celtic language branch spread throughout Europe thanks to the efforts of many different tribes. They later became involved in a losing conflict with the Roman Empire, so Latin and its children, the Romance languages, came to dominate Western Europe. Nevertheless, the Celtic branch spawned sublanguages in parts of England, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, and the Breton Peninsula in France. The Germanic branch survived Roman incursions into Central Europe and, over time, would branch into other modern-day languages centered in Germany, the Netherlands, England, Iceland, and Scandinavia. The Balto-Slavic language branch emerged as the dominant branch in Eastern Europe. Today, Balto-Slavic languages such as Russian, Polish, Czech, and Bulgarian dominate Eastern Europe. Armenian and Albanian are distinct enough to be considered major Indo-European branches, but they are spoken in limited geographic locations and by fewer people than the other Indo-European languages. Additionally, less is known about their roots than the other languages. The last major Indo-European language is Tocharian, a dead language. It was used by people living near a desert located in western China. They left behind some writings in their distinct language before vanishing from history.